David Brown was a hard-working taxi driver living in Lagos with his wife Sarah and their 8-year-old daughter Emily. Life wasn't easy for them. They lived in a small rented apartment and struggled to make ends meet. But despite their financial problems, they were a happy family. Emily returned home from school with exciting news. "Daddy, I came first in my class." David smiled proudly and hugged her. "I told you my daughter is brilliant." That evening, while they were eating dinner, David asked Emily, "What do you want to become when you grow up?" Emily answered without hesitation, "A doctor." Sarah smiled. "Why a doctor?" "Because I want to save people." David looked at his daughter and said, "Then promise me one thing. No matter how difficult life becomes, never give up on your dream." Emily smiled. "I promise." Unfortunately, none of them knew that life was about to test that promise. A few days later, Sarah suddenly became very sick. At first, she thought it was just a fever, but within hours her condition became worse. She could barely breathe. David didn't waste any time. He carried her into his old taxi while Emily sat beside her, praying that her mother would be okay. The rain was heavy. Traffic was terrible. When they finally arrived at St. Mary's private hospital, David carried Sarah into the emergency unit. A nurse rushed forward to help. But before they could enter the treatment room, the receptionist stopped them. "Sir, have you paid the admission deposit?" David emptied his pockets. It wasn't enough. He begged, he cried. He offered his phone, his wristwatch, and even his taxi as collateral, but the hospital refused. As David pleaded for mercy, Sarah took her final breath. David held his wife's lifeless body and cried like never before. After some days, he buried the love of his life. Standing beside her grave, he wept so bitterly. The following night, David was seated next to Emily, and he said, "I will work so hard to see you become a doctor one day." Neither of them knew that an even greater tragedy was still ahead.